Welcome back to this Arise America special look back at 2014 with a look ahead to 2015. Last year, terror groups slaughtered scores of people around the globe. Boko Haram rampaged through northeast Nigeria and shocked the world when they abducted more than 200 schoolgirls. That was 260 days ago. Meanwhile, the self-proclaimed Islamic State posted beheadings online for the world to see. For this and a lot more on this subject, we are joined again by adjunct Professor David Casavis, Nayaba Arinde of the New York Amsterdam News, and culture critic Monique John. This issue with the girls became a phenomenon only 45 days after they were taken, when a white celebrity held up the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag. And since then, it has fallen off the radar, Monique. Are those girls lost because the West isn't paying attention?
That certainly is my concern, and I think the other concern is that the West seems to only pay attention when there's an outbreak of violence. That seems to be the only desire to react, the only desire for, any sense of urgency or, care, paying attention to that part of the world. And I guess in a way it's understandable why people's attentions are so split now, because the Black Lives Matter movement is so prevalent here. But I think it's so important to remember that these girls are our girls. These girls are girls that are being used by their own people, and that there's no one else that will help them unless we take that action, unless we really keep shining that spotlight on them.
But Nayaba, the Nigerian government doesn't seem to want the help that it says that it wants. I don't understand.
Well, I think with the government, there's a political angle, because it's the elections are coming up next year. So that's what they're probably focusing on. Meanwhile, in the same areas, the people are organizing. Trust and believe that Boko Haram are terrorizing the villages again. Why? Because there's youth vigilante groups that are going out and looking for the children, and they're going out, and whenever Boko Haram come in, they're trying to tackle them. So what do Boko Haram do? They come back and they react with violence. They burn the churches, the villages, all kinds of foolishness. And so the people are mobilized, even in this terrified state. So even if the government aren't paying attention, the people are. And there's a lot of groups outside of the country also trying to help and trying to find the girls still. It's desperate. These children have been gone since April the 14th, and there's a movement, trust and believe, on the ground maybe, not on TV here maybe, but they are around and they're trying to get those girls home.
And it's become more confusing than ever, because those girls are being turned around into being forced into wearing the suicide bombs, and into being forced into put in these positions where they're painted their position as the perpetrators, when truly they're the victims.
Unfortunately, because we want to try to cover all this, and in the issue of strapping suicide bombs onto you, that's a good segue to take me to Islamic State, which is doing that now, according to the United Nations, in large numbers. Here we are talking about another terrorist organization in the Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria. 13 years after U.S. troops first entered the region in pursuit of Osama bin Laden. Is the world safer now after these two wars, or is it not?
I don't think the world was ever really safe, but in this case, it is about crime. Now, that was debated right after 9/11. It was Bush and his cabinet. Is this a war or is it a crime? Are these crime groups? I think today we should re-examine it and look at ISIS and say, are they a state? Or are they just a group of very successful organized criminals? Just as we have organized crime in the United States, in Italy, in many places. That's what you have now. And you have to ask yourself, to what extent does it bleed over? And look at Boko Haram. Are they anything more than organized criminals hiding in a third world country?
But criminals generally recruit from the paradigm of that, for me, doesn't work, because usually crime is something that attracts a certain kind of people.
Like bankers. Right.
Well, in the case of Boko Haram, ISIS, and the Taliban, they are abducting people. They are brainwashing people.
Yes.
So is that something that you should treat non-asymmetrically?
Look, they're criminals just like we have criminals in the United States, whether they're white collar or people who take a gun and stick up a bank. They're actually emptying banks of their monies. They're pumping oil, and they're actually selling grain to Iraqis. Why? Because they occupied the grain belt. They're thieves, and they are not a state.
Okay.
That's basic.
Short answer, yes or no. World a safer place or not in 2015?
No.
Safer place or no?
I would say no.
Okay.
I think we've been fooled into the idea that it is, but it certainly isn't.
I think you've got to
Okay.
follow the money too.
Yes, definitely.
And we live in a
definitely have to
comfortable-
follow money in the
War
case
is
of
big business.
in the case of Islamic State. That's something certainly the State Department is looking to. We're going to continue our look at 2015, but right now we want to pause one more time to take a look at some of the people that we lost this year in memoriam.